Hello and welcome back to part 34 of my Deity series on a huge Earth map as the Celts. Let's just click continue journey there. We're slowly loading up this huge map. So during the last turn transition, Rome offered us peace, and to sweeten the deal they offered us Neapolis here. I think that's the only city that Rome has, and so I rejected that peace deal. But I said that I was considering taking it because I could sell that city, or I think I can sell that city, for some decent rewards since it's right within Sweden's main territory here. We are neutral with Sweden, so we should be able to get a decent deal out of them. That's something that we could try. So if we look over at the YouTube comments, I did ask for some feedback on that. One of my viewers, whose username is not written in English, so I won't even attempt to read that, says that I shouldn't take Neapolis unless I want to do some cheesy stuff with airport war, since it'll hurt my tech and culture. Well, I think let's do that as an experiment. I'm not going to do anything with airports. There's no reason for me to head over here militarily. But I think I can get a whole bunch of gold per turn and luxuries out of Sweden if I grab Neapolis and then sell it to them. But we can also see what effect that has on our culture and on our tech acquisition. But let's have the chat weigh in on that as well. We'll take care of some other things first. We've discovered electronics, so we can start doing the battleship upgrade. Battleships cost us 392 upgrades, so we're only going to be able to upgrade one of these guys right now. Let's hold off on that for now then. We also did note at the end of the last episode that China has entered the space race. The Zulu and the Arabs have made peace. A bunch of declarations of war have happened here. Washington, Brazil, Ethiopia, Spain versus the city-state, strangely enough. Or, oh, that's because Kiev was just allied by Assyria. Meanwhile, Cordoba is starving. We're losing a population every turn, which is doing great things for our happiness, but means we'll have fewer citizens to work the museums and public schools. Now, it looks like if we continue at losing a citizen per turn, this city will be down to one population by the time it's out of resistance, which isn't exactly what we want, but it's still fine. Right, and had a little more interface lag here. It's starting to get progressively more worrisome. I do hope we can make it to a victory. If not our victory, then the AI's victory, without having the game crash catastrophically. Alright, so these guys need to move around. I still think our best option is to go for Brazil, so we'll move everyone with range and logistics over towards South America. These guys, though, can probably just stay on alert. This guy's got range and logistics, and everyone else here is healing. We will leave them one Great Admiral, that seems fair. And this guy will leave a small defense force in the North Sea, but I might regret that if Sweden decides to declare war on us. Alright, so we've got Not Your Average Doorstop and JQ23 opting for in favor of us accepting Neapolis if Caesar is still offering that as part of peace, and then selling it to Sweden. So I'm going to go and give that a try once we are done dealing with all of our units. As for construction projects, this all looks fine. Alright, so let's see if Rome is still going to offer us favorable peace terms. Alright, Neapolis, it's a 2-pop city. We'll accept... Wait, so we wanted to do a little experiment here. Demonstrate what the culture cost and science cost is going to be. So, for our next policy, we need 2320. So I'm going to type that into chat just so I don't forget. And then we also want, or our next tech, fertilizer is going to cost 1966. 1966. So, now if we were to acquire another city, how does that affect those values? Negotiate peace.
Continua.
We'll take the city, accept, goodbye.
Bene.
And what we'll do is just create a puppet. It doesn't matter what's in the city. We may as well view it while we're here. It's got a harbor, an amphitheater, and a market. 2 population. It's in starvation. Okay, so we'll go and create a puppet. And now if we look at the social policy cost, it's now 3020 to the next policy. So that was an extra 700 or so culture required. So that was pretty hefty. And if we sell the city, it's not going to get it any better. So we'll have to do some analysis afterwards whether or not whatever we get from selling Neapolis is going to make up for the increased culture cost. And the fertilizer now costs 1,999. That's up 33 beakers from what it was before. So the science cost on a huge map is negligible. I think it's only around 2% of an increase for the next tech. But the culture cost increase definitely hurt. All right, now let's see if that was worth it. We go and inquire with Gustavus. We'll make a trade. What will you give me for Neapolis here? Gold, jade, and open borders. I have 4 excess happiness right now. I don't think I need to kick that up to 8. Let's see if he'll give me... Denmark gave me 22 gold per turn for peace. 40 gold per turn and open borders. Let's make that 42. 42 gold per turn. So you guys at home will have to decide whether increasing our social policy costs by something in the range of 600 or 700 culture is worth 42 gold per turn for the next 30 turns. That's assuming that Sweden doesn't backstab us and declare war. But that looks good to me. 42 gold per turn for a garbage city. We'll accept that. Goodbye. Now, unfortunately, the culture costs don't go back down if you drop your number of cities. So even though we've sold our city here, we're still at 3020 to the next policy, but science does upgrade. So now we're back down to 1966. So small details there. Probably wasn't worth it then. I think that what we're making 92 culture turns, we added 7 more turns to the next policy, which is pretty painful. Sweden is neutral to us. They had denounced us some maybe 10 or 12 turns ago, but they've backed down from their previous hostility. And what sort of craft does Austria have? A whole fleet of Great War bombers. A total of 8 Great War bombers that could cause some trouble for our fleet here. Alright, so let's flip that over to strategic view, turn the turnover. Hey Trapper MMA, welcome to the stream. Will I be building triplanes? I don't think so. I only have the 4 oil, and so I'd rather use that on battleships. Triplanes would be nice to defend against the Great War bombers, but the Great War bombers that I'm worried about aren't the ones from Austria. At least, I'm not worried now since we're not at war. I would rather have, if I had, you know, all of the production and the oil that I wanted, it'd be nice to get an aircraft carrier with a couple triplanes on it, or even fighter jets to give us some air defense against the Brazilian Air Force. But I would prefer to have the battleships. Alright, so this, in terms of who we're at war with, is a huge turnaround compared to maybe 20 turns ago. We used to be at war with pretty much everyone we could see. Now, of the people that are at the top of the score list, we're actually sitting right here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're 13th on score, and out of everyone that we can see, we're only at war with 3 other civs right now. There's Rome denouncing us very well. That was Watha congratulating us on denouncing Germany. Germany is currently lowest on score now that England has been eliminated. So if we were to do this again, selling the city there, adding 7 turns to the next policy was pretty painful. And I don't know if we would have been able to get over to worker faculties had we not purchased or received that city. I'm not entirely sure when the game is going to end. But this is definitely delaying, if it is at all possible, for us to get over to 2 more policies, to get over to the science boost from factories. Now, whether that's worth the 44 gold per turn, I'm not sure. The 44 gold per turn is going to be more immediately relevant. It does mean we're going to be able to upgrade another battleship. So I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I do have to say that the increase in social policy costs there was pretty harsh. Korea lost its capital. Who did they lose their capital to? More AIs are congratulating us for denouncing Germany. And let's see, where is Korea? Somewhere along the coast here. Seoul was captured by China. Fair enough. And it looks like Brazil has given up sending ships at us for now. Let's try to get a couple battleship upgrades. So in 2 turns we'll be able to have upgraded 2 battleships, unless I can get a lump sum gold boost from another civ. I don't think I have anything to sell though, other than my gold per turn, which if we want to keep on trucking along with the science per turn, we can't risk selling. Or maybe we can. Let's assume that Sweden's not going to renege on their deal. Sell our gold per turn for a lump sum gold with one of our friends, and then upgrade a whole bunch of those ships. Jacob23 asks if I have any fun plans for summer. I'm going to be using a lot of that time to write my thesis, and hopefully I'll also have more time to do more stuff for Twitch and YouTube. But I don't have any big travel plans or any other particularly eventful things planned. Sweden does have a lot of ironclads protecting Lisbon here. I'm going to need... Oh yes, and we did have another question from the last episode. Why did at one point in time, our science per turn was at 700 something, but it dropped to 650 some odd, and I'm not entirely sure why. It could have been one of our trade routes, science from trade routes, maybe that was it. We didn't lose any cities. We didn't gain any cities. So a slight mystery as to why our science value fluctuated there. But it's back to our turn. Let's switch that back to the normal view. Hello, game? Problems between normal and strategic view. Is my keyboard dying? Let's see. Or is it, no, the keyboard's still working. And we're just running into a little more lag. I'll try not to mention the lag, because it's probably, it draws more attention to it than I want. So that'll be the last mention for today's episode, at the very least. Cordova is still losing a population per turn. Okay, so it's stabilized at 8 population, and we're out of resistance in that many turns. So once Cordoba is out of resistance, we should get a nice science boost from this guy. We've got the observatory, and then the university and the public schools. And so once we're out of resistance, those values will actually start contributing. Okay, so maybe the reason I saw our value up to 700 was because it was when we had captured Cordoba, but before we had decided whether or not we were going to raise, puppet, annex, and all the rest. And so before that screen was resolved, you actually get all of the happiness and all of the science and other yields before that kicks in. Maybe that's what we saw. Alright, hey Massive Effects, welcome to the stream. It is Battleship time. We can upgrade 2 of them, potentially 3 if we want to sell some of our gold per turn to one of our friends for a small loan. Okay, so let's look at Barcelona. What do we want to build out of here? Suppose we are running low on happiness. We could build out a courthouse. That's only 6 turns. Let's go for that then. Work on all of our production. All production has been assigned. Alright, so these guys are going to advance forward. Maybe to here. And sure, we can upgrade this guy to a battleship. Well, maybe my most advanced ships, so the guys that have additional movement, I'll upgrade those guys first. These guys both have naval targeting. The battleships I want primarily for pounding away at cities, so we'll upgrade this guy. Now we need, if we want to upgrade 2 more, we're going to need another 450 or so. So, we're friendly. Do we have a declaration of friendship? We do. Go for a trade. And let's see. What will you give me? I think they value gold per turn at 25 per. So 4 for 100, 8 for 200, 16 for 400. Let's see, if I offered him 17 gold per turn, what will you give me for this? Some coal, which I'm not really interested in. Let's see, 430. What will you give me for this? Looks good to me. Let's see if we can get that value up a little more. 500. Maybe my estimate is wrong. Alright, he's also interested in the iron. 19 for 484. Propose. Alright, so that should be enough for us to upgrade 2 more of our frigates to battleships. Probably best to upgrade the frigates rather than the ship of the line, since the ship of the lines do have that much more strength. versus a battleship. It's still a huge upgrade, but we probably would gain more by upgrading the frigate. So let's upgrade this guy here. And I suppose we could upgrade one of these guys. Indirect fire. I think I'd rather upgrade the frigates, even though this guy does have the naval promotion. Alright, fine. We'll upgrade this guy. Fraxotic, welcome to the stream. Why do I wake up so early? For me, local time, it's 7:55. This just happens to be the most reliable time where I can stream. I really don't prefer... I'm not a huge fan of mornings, but on the plus side, this does give me more motivation to make sure I'm out of bed and alert and all the rest. This guy is one of the ones we might have wanted to upgrade to a battleship. I suppose we could do that next turn. We could sell a little more gold per turn to get over to 390 that we need sooner. Let's have this guy just sleep here. This will be our defensive fleet. And these guys will sleep here. Our battleships will take damage from Great War bombers, but they'll also be able to deal damage to the cities quicker, and we might be able to rush in there, maybe take the city down in 2 turns and destroy whatever planes are stationed there. At least that's my hope. We'll see how that ends up playing out. And we can play the little game of where are our stream viewers from during the turn transition. So that looks like everything taken care of. Next turn, we've got Matter Zero, a nice afternoon there, 1 p.m. in London, 2 p.m. in Paris from Abaddon 56. Fraxotic is from Toronto as well. A caravel from Melbourne, who I believe we are actually at war with. Let's scroll that down. Not that I'm too excited about capturing a caravel, but it's nice to know what hostile units are buzzing around. And while I'm doing the turn transition, scrolling through the score screen here does seem to be slightly fraught with difficulty. Keeps wanting to jump back up to the top. Hanoi, Melbourne, and Sedona. So this is an enemy caravel. I probably shouldn't waste trying to capture that with a privateer, since it would put us in range of whatever air force Brazil has stationed in São Luís. We can take a quick look at that though. On the next turn, I want to see where Pedro has his air force stationed. Doesn't look like he's got anyone stationed along the coast here. For Trapper MMA, it's 5 p.m. in the middle of Russia. And Fraxotic is only listening to the stream, and he's going to catch up on the actual video on YouTube. That's dedication. Listening to the stream twice. I'm flattered. And that's going to be a nice project for the summer, seeing if I can build up my Twitch audience enough to get partnership for you guys. Well, I mean, it's for me too, since it'll be good fun and I could potentially supplement my modest student stipend with some Twitch income. But it'll be really good for you guys because then you can adjust the stream quality. I'll have more of my audience from YouTube be able to follow my streams because they can set the encoding quality down to low or medium or even mobile, whatever it happens to be that works best for your connections. I did discover recently, so when I'm at work, I don't often have time to watch streams, but I do have time to listen to streams when I'm going about the more mundane tasks. On my phone, the Twitch app for Android lets you listen to audio only, which is really good for bandwidth purposes. You can just listen to someone streaming when you don't actually want to be watching them. Or, well, you might want to watch, but for whatever reason, your eyes are occupied. Alright, so Babylon is warning us about Bismarck. They want us to join this war. Give us 10 turns to prepare. We also promised that to another civ, but I think they denounced us shortly thereafter. In any case, we have already denounced Germany, so we could go and declare war on them at our leisure. We do have a small fleet in the North Sea to go and attack Cologne. Would this guy be enough to take down Cologne? I don't remember what the city strength was, but we've got 5 ships here, including 4 ships of the line, so they should be able to make short work of Cologne when we do need to declare war on Germany. Alright, so we've got 3 battleships. We can sell some more gold per turn to upgrade another. And then that'll be all of our oil. So 4 battleships and a bunch of frigates. That should do just fine. We'll send them all over and see what sort of trouble we can make for Pedro. The world's most literate people. Pedro is at 67 techs. Trailing right behind him are the Inca. Pedro, we're pretty sure, is going for a cultural/tourism victory, whereas, if I recall correctly, the Incans have built the Apollo project, so they're probably aiming for a science victory. So they're actually the bigger threat here. Maybe we can go and make peace with Brazil and then attack the Incans. How long would it take for our ships to get into position to attack? Well, Cusco isn't coastal. We could take up one of their cities here. We could definitely bombard them here, but we would need a land unit to do the actual capture, which could be difficult. Alright, well, that's actually an idea. We could go use our faith to purchase infantry, maybe. We have enough faith for that. Send him across the ocean, get him to land, he can hide in the jungle. We can fire down with our battleships over on the city. In fact, if that's going to be our plan, we could send a spy over. Well, it's all going to be dependent on whether or not... Well, first let's see what's happening with Brazil's Air Force. We can pop over quickly. They've got nothing here. If we move over with a nuclear sub, does he have nuclear subs stationed here? He does. So we'll want to stay out of range and then go for the nuclear sub next turn. So we'll move everyone down. Well, first let's see if he'll take peace. Negotiate peace. Perhaps another day. Okay, so I don't want to be engaged in all sorts of combat with the Incans if I'm also fighting Brazil. So if we're not worried about Brazil going for the scientific victory, then perhaps we should attack Recife, or Recife, and then see if Brazil will take peace, and use that as a staging ground. We'll have areas where we can heal up to start moving in on the Incans, and then slow down their tech victory. Alright, there are some calls for us to look at the victory screen. I don't think the Incans have built out any spaceship parts yet. Yeah, so the Incans have the Apollo project, but no actual parts. Napoleon has declared war on Spain. Nothing else that we're too excited about here. We've got a great person who I am tempted to fire off right now. How long have we had our research labs up for? At least 4 turns. We could pop him right now. I don't know if So it used to be the case that the beakers gained from tech rollover are multiplied, they're increased. So if we could pop our Great Scientist when most of those bulbs would go into tech rollover, we would be getting the biggest bang for our buck there. And it used to be, it might still be possible to really exploit that to get extreme amounts of science from bulbing right at when you're about to complete a tech. But we only have the one Great Scientist, so it won't be much of an exploit. And at this stage, we need as much of a kick as we can get. So I think I am going to use this Great Scientist right now. We're going to be receiving another in, let's see, 8 turns. So yeah, let's just go and use this guy right now. It might be best to use them together, but I guess this is less exploity in any case. Let's see if we're actually getting some sort of a multiplier, if that's been changed or not. So we need another 200 or so on fertilizer, and then we're going to get 4,773. So if there is no multiplier, we should have about 4,500 into the next tech. Let's have a look at that. Discover technology. And military science, we have 4,500 into the next tech. So no multiplier for the overflow, it would seem, that has been patched. That's fine. As much as I would like some bonus science, it's also fine if some of the more overpowered oversights have been patched. But we are moving along. That did shave off some turns for us, so that's good. Alright, choose production in London. I think we're going to want to keep on pumping privateers here. And promote a unit. Yes, our privateer. Do I want extra movement or do I want naval units? Boarding party. The whole reason that I want these privateers is so that we can potentially capture some more nuclear subs. Let's get the naval promotions there. Although the naval promotions don't increase his chance of capturing a ship. Maybe I should have gotten just the extra movement so we could get over to the front lines sooner. These guys will keep on hanging out back here. Let's have them bunch up right there, maybe a little further away from Austria's air force. We're not at war, but war is a possibility. Let's have this guy hang out over here, go on alert. A nice small fleet here, defending the capital. And this guy here will be our last battleship upgrade. So, let's go and talk to Montezuma again. Mass Effects, no, we have not picked up the tech for offshore oil rigs. It's too much of a detour away from satellites, and I really need satellites so that I can have a chance at grabbing Hubble, because that's the only way we're going to get back in the game for potentially winning the science victory here. So we want a bunch of gold. Let's see, 15 for 450. What will make this work? 17 for 433. Alright, fine. Let's cut that down a little. No, 17 for 433. That'll work. Yeah, that's right, Matter Zero. I don't want to make the detour for refrigeration, which I would need to get the offshore platforms going. More oil would be nice. We could build out some of our air force. We could upgrade a few more frigates to battleships. But I can't afford, at least I don't feel like I can afford, the 4,200 beakers that would be required to pick up refrigeration. I really want to get over to satellites as quickly as possible. Hubble is still available as far as I can tell. And that's going to be really important for us. This guy's plotting against Bismarck. We don't need to share our intrigue here, since we are planning to go to war with those guys. Edinburgh has grown, and Vancouver looks elsewhere. Oh yeah, we can see if we can make peace with some of these city-states. Just so they're not running around pillaging our trade routes. So we are at peace here, it's just a negative. And what about these guys? At war with Greece and Quebec City. Alright, so it's only Melbourne that we're at war with, and that's because they're allied with the Inca. Alright, so even if I do go through with this plan to attack the Inca, it's not going to be for 10 turns. Let's see, I wonder if he'll take peace. Nope, we still have business to settle apparently. Alright, let's start sending these guys off. Still have open borders with France, which is good. And perhaps I should send a nuclear submarine north to escort the battleships. It would be a real shame if they happened to be ambushed by some submarines. And let's get these guys into range here. So this nuclear submarine can see us, but the AI can't move and shoot, so we should be safe hanging out back here. And I suppose while we have extra movement, we go and deal some damage to this caravel. Does this put me within range of any danger? I think we'll be safe here. And are we at war with Ethiopia? No, we're not. This guy only has 3 movement left. This guy's got 2 movement. Alright, just a little damage, that's fine. The submarine, I suppose, could go and finish that caravel off. Alright, so that's dealt with. We'll pull back slightly. This guy is our last battleship upgrade, and we'll send the ship little lines back in. We didn't end up, we brought them home, but we don't have the oil to upgrade them. Plus, they are stronger than frigates anyways, so we'll leave them as is. Right, another unit needs orders. This privateer is fine there. Okay, so we'll see if with battleships we have better luck knocking down the Brazilian cities. I think, since I'm not worried so much about Brazil going for the tech victory, now taking their capital would still give me a huge boost to my science output, my production, my culture output as well. So I might want to do that. Although slowing down the Incans might be more important. So let's leave ourselves with that option. It's going to take a while for us to get a unit over there, in which case this guy has been annexed. And how much would it cost to buy a Malay unit? We could buy an infantry right here. That's something to do with our faith. We're never going to be able to do anything else with the faith, so we may as well make use of that. A free infantry unit here, and we'll embark him, send him across the water to give us the option of capturing some inland cities. Although that's fairly ambitious, fairly long term, but we do need to start sending him out now. Alright, so we'll roll that turnover. And Massive Effects is remarking on the size of Lisbon's fleet here. It's a lot of ironclads, a couple Galeas, some privateers. Let's hope they don't declare war on us. I don't expect they will. They are sending a lot of trade routes our way. So I think they've got a lot of incentive not to declare war on us. Let's see, where are they on score, and how do they feel about us? Again, scrolling this list during the turn transition does seem to be difficult. It keeps wanting to jump back up to the top. I just want to see what my diplomatic relations with Portugal are. Alright, we have a better score than them, and they are currently neutral with us. We've got a lot of trade routes going. We're sending them one trade route, and we're sending them two trade routes, and we're getting almost 50 gold per turn off of those two trade routes, and they're sending us some trade routes of their own. Here, Rome is at guarded status, very well. Oh, and again, I forgot to set myself to lower graphics, massive effects. I'll try to remember for tomorrow's stream. And what I'll do is set myself to low graphics at the end of today's stream, so I don't have to remember. Just remind me at the end of today's stream, massive effects, and we'll see if that helps. Okay. The Aztecs are pleased that we're friends with the Huns. Fair enough. I guess that reflects on how the world views us when we are good friends with all the big warmongers. Trapper MMA asks how much damage our battleships will do to Rio. I don't know offhand. Hopefully they'll pack a good punch. But we'll find out soon enough. Maybe not in this episode, since it's going to take a while for the battleships to sail over. But in the next episode, we'll see if this whole turn to grab battleships is worthwhile. Massive Effects is thinking that the battleships will do 17 damage, while the Ship of the Alliance will do 9. Which, given that Brazil probably has over 200 hit points, is still going to take us a while to wear the city down. Plus, they'll have multiple cities to base aircraft out of. He's spotted our units here, so he's got bombers in addition to Great War bombers. That's a little scary. We might need to go and at a huge nuclear submarine fleet. Alright, we might need to back off again, at least until we have more privateers to try to capture those guys. I will back off out of the Air Force range, see if his privateers chase us. Russia has entered the space race as well, so we've got Russia, China, and the Incans, having built the Apollo project. We'll back these guys off to meet up with the battleships, see if the nuclear subs follow, hopefully build up more of a fleet of nuclear submarines, and that'll defend us from any naval attacks, but then we still have to worry about aircraft. Slowly pushing through the turns, we can see what the tech rollover is here. 4,500 minus 2,000 plus the 600. We should get somewhat 3,100 speakers into the next tech. If we get more than 3,100 into the next tech, then there is still some science rollover multiplication. But maybe it's been removed only for the Great Scientist building. Let's see what our science value is at. It used to be the case that not only does meeting other civs that have already researched the tech decrease the cost of those techs, but if you're researching into that tech, if you have hammer overflow into one of those techs, then the hammer overflow is also multiplied or increased by the same percentage. So you could sort of double dip into the benefits of researching techs that your neighbors have already researched. Alright, we got a great musician there. That's pretty much useless to us. I suppose we could send culture somewhere. Denmark has declared war on Germany. Gold per turn from Shaka has ended. Sweden and Spain have made peace. Whole bunch of denouncements running around. We don't need to read all of those. Alright, let's flip that over to the normal view. We're going to want to retreat from here. Retreat over to the rest of our fleet then. So the Ironclad doesn't really have the most movement. He'll just hang out back here, say. And the rest of these guys, I will definitely want to pull out of range of the nuclear subs. So maybe over to here. That seems reasonable. But we still want to be seen by the subs so that they're tempted to chase us. I think dropping in over here, we should still be visible to them. I don't want to lose the privateers at this stage since they could potentially mean new nuclear subs for us. Alright, we finished this cargo ship. We now have 6 cargo vessels. I want to get more gold in here so we can buy another research lab. Or, oh yeah, we should definitely just sell gold per turn to get that research lab now. There's no point waiting around. But our best gold per turn would be from Edinburgh to Copenhagen. Can we trust the Danes to stay at peace with us? I'm not sure. Maybe we should just go with Marrakesh. What would be the safer route? In any case, it does require this guy rebasing to Edinburgh. And we'll choose production here. Push out another privateer. That'll do nicely. And did we complete the national epic, or did my annexing, etc. throw everything off? No, we've got the national epic, that's good. And another great scientist in 21 turns, that'll be fine. Okay, choosing production in Dublin then. We will want another privateer here too. I don't think there's anything more valuable that I want to start working on. Maybe the zoo. Perhaps Edinburgh then should work on a happiness building instead of that privateer. Gardens, castle. Okay, so we already have all of our happiness buildings built out in the capital city. Perhaps a national wonder of some kind might be what we want to get going. The Grand Temple must be built in the Holy City, which it is, but we also need temples in all of our cities, so nothing there. East India Company requires markets. I don't think we're going to have time to make the East India Company relevant. But a market over in Iceland. I suppose we could go and do that. That'll be 5 turns. Which means giving up on 6 science per turn. Alright, let's build out a market, that's fine. And let's see about building out a research lab, or rush buying a research lab. Economic overview. We've got 11 turns on this guy. We could buy a research lab in Iceland. I don't think we have a research lab there yet. We don't. Okay, so let's get the 900 we need. So another 450. Go to our go-to moneylender, Aztecs. Do a trade here. So if I want another 500, 450, what will you, not 250, 450, what do you want for this? Bunch of our strategic resources. We're not actually using any of this, so does he actually want our coal? What will you give me for coal? He does want our coal, and we don't actually want coal, so is it still going at 45, so 90, 182, 220, 35? 225. Alright, so make that swap, and then we can also sell the aluminum. I don't have anything to do with the aluminum. We'll need it eventually for spaceship parts, but I think we have enough Yeah, we've got more than enough. So another 5 for 230. I'll make this deal work. 225. Alright, so let's go and buy that research lab then. Trapper MMA says that getting a garden in Edinburgh will get me 3 more great scientist points per turn. And the thing about that is I don't think I'll be able to generate more than 1 great scientist out of Edinburgh, regardless of the great scientist point generation. I feel like the game, we don't have more than 40 turns left in this game. Whether or not that's true, though, is definitely unclear. Okay, so we've got the research lab up there. We're now pumping 712 per turn. I hope I didn't do something stupid in the last few episodes, like accidentally selling my research lab. Is that why we dropped back down to 650 before? I'm still confused about why that happened. But I didn't actually go back and investigate. Okay, so we've got this great musician. He's useless to us. Doing a culture bomb isn't going to help us at all. He's just costing us upkeep. Concert tour. We can't make a work of music, so we'll just delete him. And what else do we need? Nuclear subs are hanging out. Privateers are trying to join the rest of this fleet. See, run down to here, please. We'll have the infantry embark and get over here as well. Battleships to the front line. So I know I said I'd stop talking with the lag, but the lag is extreme enough that it looks like we have combat animations online. But we really don't. This is quick movement, but the movement is being so drawn out that it almost looks like the normal combat animation. And I think we'll set the graphic settings down right now. This is going to be the last turn for me. Unfortunately, I do have a lot of work to do today, so I can't, or I shouldn't, make this or add the extra 10 minutes or so onto the stream. We will do the turn transition, and we'll see if the Brazilian fleet causes any trouble for our guys here, but then we will have to end the episode. So all these guys can park there. There's nothing else that I want to get going. Science-wise, since I already put in that much construction into the research labs, it seems like a shame to rush by the research labs and waste all those hammers. But if I am serious about getting as much science going as possible, I shouldn't worry about some wasted hammers. We should probably go and make another trade, get another 900 gold. Do I have enough gold per turn to trade for 900 though? Yeah, I do. So let's go and look at the economic overview again. We should have done this sooner, but it just hadn't. I hadn't thought about that at the time. So Nottingham isn't relevant. We sort that by science. York and Amsterdam. York definitely could use a research lab, as could Barcelona. Alright, let's keep having York build up that research lab, but we can buy a research lab in Barcelona if we haven't already. Let's have a look at Barcelona quickly. No, Barcelona could definitely use a research lab. So let's go back to Montezuma. And let's see, trade. Let's say 20 gold per turn. Some luxuries. What's the math on that? 500 some odd? 23 gold per turn for 583. If I sold him 40 gold per turn, would he give me 1,000? Alright, so that's probably more than I need. Let's make that 35 and 1,000. I'm just doing it this way because my mental math skills are pretty low. Let's make that 34. No open borders. Alright, good enough. Propose. He actually wants some of our aluminum as part of the deal, so let's drop that back down to 900. What would make this deal work? 35 for 892. Propose. Alright, so, we're short $5. These workers aren't doing anything, are they? We could delete a worker. We might regret that later, but that'll get us over to the 900 we need without having to open the trade screen again. And let's go and buy a research lab in Barcelona. Barcelona is looking safe for now. We are at peace with both France and Spain. So this might be risky, but let's go and employ that guy there. Alright, so that gets us another 50 science per turn. Should I do this again and buy the research lab in York? Yeah, let's do that. As much as I loathe to waste the hammers that I've already spent on the research lab, if we are serious about going for the science victory, we need to do everything we can to get that science per turn up right now. So I keep on clicking on Pedro instead of Montezuma. Right, there we go. Trade. I want 900. So I think that's going to be 38 or 1,000. What would make this deal work? What's the aluminum? Let's chop that down to 939. What would make this deal work? Looks good to me. 38. Accept. Alright, so we'll go and rush by the research lab here. So that does waste 150 hammers, but better that than not actually having the science coming in. We'll employ the scientist slot. Starvation here, citizen management, default focus, food focus. Can we not starve? 21 turns, default focus. Alright, 31 turns, that's fine. And instead, we'll just go and work on that zoo. So that'll be fine. Alright, so we're almost up to 800 science per turn. That's a little more respectable. And now for the turn transition. Alright, so we were talking about trying to see if we got extra hammers the last time around. We had, what was it, 45? We were saying if we had more than 2,100 beakers, then we would have had overflow. Was that last turn or the turn before that I was crunching those numbers? In any case, if it was 2 turns ago, then I forget what the value should have been. But if it was just the last turn, then we do seem to have some extra beakers here, which does bode well for pushing us into or through the text a little faster. Hey, MindDragon1999. You're just catching the end of the stream, I'm afraid. We're seeing if Brazil is going to follow us forward with their nuclear submarines. We've got a fourth player in the space race now. Siam has joined the space race with their completion of the Apollo program. And Bakal of the Maya. Do I want to declare war on someone else here? We have no interest in this arrangement. Alright, what's happening over on Twitter while I'm waiting? Flifsky, who is the developer for Democracy 3, which I've played on my YouTube channel, as well as a few other games, which I guess I've been meaning to take a look at. He's got a picture of an archery target up there. Apparently he's into archery, but that reminds me very much of one of my longtime viewers, Hachi, who is also really into archery, and his YouTube/Twitch icon is a similar looking archery target. I don't know if that's the standard archery target or just really common in Britain, but that's pretty cool. Archery is good fun. I was part of a very casual archery club in high school. Just, you know, at lunchtime, shooting some targets in the gym. Definitely fun, but I wouldn't say that I know anything about archery. We can look at our spies before we set off. We should probably drop spies into all of the civs that are going for the space victory here. So maybe drop. We had tried spying on the Incan capital with no luck. It was a really long textile time, but maybe in one of their other cities. If we are seriously thinking about attacking this city here, we should definitely drop a spy in there. And Portugal wants to go to war with Morocco. I suppose that's another option for our fleet. If we can't make any good gains against Brazil, attacking Morocco might do the trick. I don't think we have any trade routes going to Morocco. Let's see. Morocco. Where is Morocco on the score? Right here. We do not have any trade routes going to them. Alright, let's leave ourselves that option. And I don't want Portugal to get mad at me, if only because we have all of those mutual trade routes. So let's try to improve our diplomatic relations to Portugal by siding with them on this. Give us 10 turns to prepare. And so in 10 turns, if our war with Brazil isn't going well, or it doesn't look like it's going to be profitable, we can back off and just send the fleet at Morocco, since it's just right off the coast from where our fleet is. Grabbing Marrakesh and sail. Those should be decent cities. And then we can also use our embarked infantry if we wanted to grab Rabat as well. Alright, so we're getting to the end of the turn here, and Massive Effects is reminding me to set my graphics levels to low/minimum to see if that'll improve the turn time transitions in tomorrow's stream. And I'll also go and reassign our spies to see if that'll be helpful. It looks like we did prevent a textile. Asher Battlepal wants to buy our truffles. He's willing to offer us uranium. Let's refuse that for now. I think I'd rather the lump sum gold or gold per turn. I'm not going to be able to do anything with uranium for quite some time. So the Aztecs have also completed the... Oh wait, that was the Manhattan Project, not the Apollo Project. We'll flip through the messages, and then that'll be the end of today's episode. Actually, we're finishing just about on time. That's how long the turn transition took. Alright, well... We'll roll through all of that. We finished Dynamite, 2 turns to Railroad. Okay, so it is just about the expected amount of rollover science, I think. Or am I getting confused about that? We'll have to look into that in more detail later. But in the meantime, Brazil has not come forward with their fleet. We prevented a text deal, got some experience. 3 more civs have entered the space race. Another civ. We can't steal from Portugal. Really? We've eclipsed Portugal in terms of technology. I guess that's good. Let's see. Let's drop a spy in on... So the Shoshone have entered the space race, but we don't have much luck with that. Maybe St. Petersburg. Let's move this guy, St. Petersburg. We'll move this guy to counter espionage. And then the guy in Warsaw isn't going to have much luck with that. Maybe the Huns have started the space race, so maybe we'd have some luck with them. Attila's court probably has someone on counter espionage. Let's try Malang. Alright, so that was that dealt with. Was there something else that I wanted to check before we ended the turn? If we did, I've already forgotten. And, alright, so I think Germany just got eliminated from the game there. Yes, they did. So, the Danes beat me to taking Cologne. If I had been paying more attention, I should have tried to grab that, although I didn't have a privateer within range, so even had we noticed Cologne was about to fall, we wouldn't have had that option. Alright, well, that's it for today's stream. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully I'll see some of you tomorrow, and enjoy all of your days. And